Hello fellas, welcome back. This is Manuel. Today we are going to learn the zoom effect in brand design and logo presentation, and also we are going to learn how to do this. This. Okay, we're going to learn this other one. It's also related or interwoven with this zoom effect we're about learning now. So it's going to be very, very funful if you watch carefully. So what is a zoom effect? A zoom effect is simply an effect you apply to a content that makes a specific part of it more visible than the others, or it pulls out the informations, okay, or the graphics in that particular angle you are proposing to focus on. So I'm going to show you that practically. I'm not a good explainer. I just explain the way I feel. It's not what I read online. This is just how I feel about it, or what I think about it. Not actually feelings, because it's not human. So to do this, we are going to create a circular form of vector in Illustrator, then import it in Photoshop. We're going to work today with Photoshop. I want to make it very simple for us. If I do it in Illustrator, it might be conflicting, but if I get more response or request to prepare this on Illustrator, I will make that. But for now, let's go with the Photoshop. So first thing you do, we create a circle. Okay, we create a perfect circle, and next thing, we import the circle to Photoshop. So now we have our circle here. What we do, we can resize it to the size or shape we want. You can duplicate the circle to any amount you want. You might want 2, 12, 13, 14 or so. I don't know what you want to do with those. So we duplicate it right now, and we need just 2 effects. There is too much mosquito in my house. So we just need 2 icons to apply this effect. So what else we need is to import our content. I have a design I made for a client some time ago, and I want us to work with that. This Black Fantasy, they produce perfumes. I don't know if this product is already in Nigeria, but I think we have to do the tutorial with this. So we import the particular content we want to work with. Let me assume we are working with this. So here is where the zoom effect comes in place. What the function is in this brand concept. I'll still be making this with a logo to show you how it works there. What the concept of this is simple. We are trying to play more emphasis. Probably this icon. Let me show you something we have over here. So you see this perfume. By the way, this is the whole brand packaging content. I can send you this if you want to get more inspirations about that. So this is where is this? Okay, very good. So this is example of what I'm saying. I don't even know if this is possible that we use this particular one, but I don't think it's necessary. We use this one, we use this one, we use this one, we use this one. No, let's not use this one. So what I was saying is this: you can pinch out a part of this to the angle here and pinch out another part of this, probably because this is in a small angle. We can see this clearly. We can't do that here. But what if we are trying to work with this particular image over here? I mean this blurred one. Probably it's not blurred, but the icons and the articles are tiny and we want people to see it. That's what we are trying to achieve with the zoom effect. I hope that explains it better. So now we assume that this is too far from our side. We can't see it. Let's assume this is practically like this. Can you see anything? Okay, but you can see the circular format very clearly. So let's zoom very closely back and get back to work. Now we shouldn't have created these circles. There is something we needed to do. We needed to point a reference to the part we want to work with. What does that mean? That simply means we have to point an angle. What you do, you select on your line segment tool. Select on the line segment tool. Let me zoom closely so you see it. Zoom more closely. This is the line segment tool, okay? So select on the line segment tool, then you pinch from this angle to this angle. Okay, we are cool with that. Make sure the line segment at the peak of the line segment touches this other angle. Let me still zoom closely so you see. See, the peak of this is touching the path, so there is no separation from this circle with this line. I'll show you what that means when I create the second one. So I zoom out again. So now I'm going to make this a little bit thicker so we can duplicate it now. Don't know, probably there's a duplicate here again. So place it above that. Forget about these duplicates. So now the next thing we do is we duplicate this out and we select and pull it out. And we still do the same thing we did in the other one. So pull it up a little and make sure it matches with this angle. But don't bother much about that. We are going to deal with that in the later part of this. So now we have these two. We can select the both of them by selecting on the direct selection tool. Okay, direct selection tool, select the peak, the peak of these icons, then we can zoom more closely. So now we have this. We can duplicate this circle by holding Alt and dragging out. So we zoom in and we place it right here. Still do the same work. Make sure it aligns accordingly. Make sure it aligns accordingly. So now we are done with that. What you are going to do, we select the two lines and we move it to the back. Arrange, we say send to the back. Very good. Now we send it to the back. We are going to cover it up with this circle. Make sure the circle is totally above it. We don't want to see that line. Very good. The same we do with this one. We don't want to see the line. Okay, I think I'm good with this. Very good. So now what next we have to do is we are going to export this circle and export this other circle separately. Then we export these lines separately. I will tell you the reason why we are going to do that. So we import. Let's do that with the line first, then we come back to the circle. So we are exporting the lines and this is just our lines. Okay, then let's assume this is the circle we have. Let's forget about the circle we have over there. Let's work with this one. So let's assume this is the circle we have. We can zoom it closely and do the same maths we did in Illustrator. So this is basically very conflicting in the beginning. It will seem as if stuffs are not working out the way you want them to work out, but things are really working. So now we are done with this. This is simply what we need. Select everything. You can group it if you want. Ctrl G to group. So everything is grouped here. Move it above everything in this layer panel. So now we moved it there. We can select Ctrl Z. Select the whole group. Click on the edge. Then select everything. Okay. So now what we want to focus more on is this angle they call not the angle they call Black Fantasy. We want to focus more on this angle over here where the flower is. Okay, so how to do that? We select our files, select everything, and duplicate this particular one. So duplicate this by holding Alt and dragging out. So when we duplicate it, we place it above this particular circle. So we see this where this particular circle is. Let me zoom closely so you see. Ctrl Z. Here is where the particular circle we are looking for is actually here. So now we have it. You move this particular one over here. We don't want this duplicate. Move that over here, and what you are going to do is simple to click Option on it over here and click Mask. You see we have click masked this, but we are not done with the job already. So zoom out, like pinch it out to be more bold than what we have over there. Pinch it out, you understand? Pinch it out, and this is it. So now we have that. The next thing we do, we select this other part, add a stroke to it. We can make the stroke red to align or match with what color we have in here. Don't mind it, the color I'm using, it does have a very good resolution. So matches the color and we click OK. Next we are going to do the same with this one over here. What you are going to do here is simple. We are simply going to duplicate this also by clicking Ctrl and J to duplicate, and we locate where the circle is and place this gear icon over the circle. So what you next you do, you click option and still create your clip masking. So now we create the clip masking. We are going to copy the vector shape we have here and paste it in the one we have instead of recreating it again. So copy it and paste here. So you see it over there. So the transparency works perfectly well. So to separate it from this, we're going to click on the bottom layer and zoom closely, double click on this angle, and we now start working with this. We can create a drop shadow. The drop shadow is too far. Bring it closely, don't go too far. Very good. Created a drop shadow over there, and we reduce the opacity. So here now our color is our stroke color is red. We can still increase it a little, increase the stroke color, or even change it to green to match with the other one, you know, to just give you any kind of effect you are looking at, or yellow or whatever, you know, that will separate it from what you have there. So my brothers and sisters, this is simply how to create the zoom effects. Simply how to create that zoom effect. I think this is the I'm looking for the okay, very good. So we can also change this color to become whatever we want it to be. Probably we can work with gray. I think I like gray. Gray will make more sense because it places more emphasis and make it look more interesting. So this is practically how to create the zoom effect. We have created the zoom effect for this, and we can still do that on the logo design. So when someone comes in, they can't see what they write here, they look at the zoom effect, they can see it clearly from here. So this is pointing direction to this one. I hope you guys understood that clearly. So you can still work with the logo. You can place more emphasis on a particular part of the logo, and so let's get to the second episode of version of this tutorial. The next one, we are going to do a zoom effect that we are not just going to use on just publication, but a zoom effect that will work on Instagram. Now, how are we going to achieve that? We're going to create a layer, a new artboard on Photoshop by clicking Ctrl New. Don't even know why they want to Ctrl New. So now the effect you're going to use here is, remember, the Instagram supports only a square image. If you are putting any image, it's still going to crop it when you publish it. So what we are going to do here, we are going to create a square image times 2. Square is 100 times 100, 200 times 200, 300 times 300, whatever times whatever, the same thing is a square. Okay, whatever times the same thing is a square. So if we are creating 2000 widths, and we are creating, if you are creating 2000 widths, and we are also creating 2000 widths here, it's practically a square. Okay, so now what we want is this. We just don't want to create a square, because what we are trying to achieve here is going to be part of the image is going to be in one square, and the other part of the image is going to be in one square, so that when someone scrolls from the first image, he can get to the second image without wasting their time. So what we are going to do here is simple. We are going to create a new layer, a new artboard. Now, since we have the height at 2000, the width is going to be 4000, because it's going to be double of the square. So we make the width 4000. We create. So this is a perfect double square. But this is not what we are looking at. Why? Because okay, let me import our work so we see what is going to happen. So I'm gonna import a flyer I designed for church some years ago. That should be last year or so. It should be in, see how I organize my folders? This is how it's supposed to be, or even better than this. Where is this work? I have some previous ugly works here. So let's take for instance, this is the work I want to place this emphasis on. So you zoom out closely. This is it. Okay, so this is just it. You can just create your background color. I was talking to someone this evening that's what's your name? I was talking to one student this evening, and we had to find it difficult finding a particular color to use. So this is the color value of the yellow I'm talking about. The color value of yellow you should use for presentations like this should be close to what we are currently using now. So let's say, let me zoom closely so you see. So you see it's FFB20D. This is the color effect for yellow that I prefer most appropriate for this. So now we have this. Make sure it is centered. Make sure it is in the middle of this artboard. Okay, now it's in the middle. What we are going to do next is to divide this image. We either divide it from our application inside our phone, or we can divide it with Photoshop here. But before we divide with Photoshop, we have to save it first. So we click on Control Save. I'm just showing you an instance. You can just play around with the designs you can make in the background, add your logos and so on and so forth. So let's assume this is what we have. You can just add a little drop shadow here, a little drop shadow, and make it more obvious. To see drop shadow in some colors, you have to enable the stroking. You can make the stroking white before you see the drop shadow make a little more sense to you. Okay, and when you are applying a stroking, make sure you make it outside, not inside. Okay, and one other thing I forgot to tell you, when you are creating a new work, Control New, make sure your resolution is on 300. Okay, make sure your resolution is on 300. That's what emphasis you have to place. Make sure your resolution is at 300. So now we have created this. We are not done yet. Let's save it now so we can move on to the next step. So we save it as JPG. We save it as a whole. Save it in the desktop. So now we saved this file. It's in 1.4 megabytes. Now we saved this file. What you're going to do next is to create a new artboard. Control New. This one now we are going to make it square. Okay, since this is 4000 times 4000, now we are going to make it 2000 times 2000 to accommodate what we currently designed. If you make it 1000, you will start resizing it and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense. So this is exactly what we are looking at. Make sure the yellow touches the top side, and make sure the yellow also touches the bottom side. Now what you're going to do next is to make sure at the right side it starts from the point here and ends wherever it ends is not your business. Just because your calculation is accurate, make sure it starts from this point, and whatever it ends is not the issue. What you are going to do here is we are going to save this. Control Alternative Save. So this is it. We save it and we call it. We are not. This is not number one. Okay, we are going to call this one. Very good. It's one. This is the number one. It's not the number two. It's number one. I'm making a mistake. If you use the application, this is number two. If you use this format, this is number one. So we save this as number one, and we can reduce the quality to like 300 megabytes, so can accommodate our app. So what next we're going to do? We're going to drag this to the other end. We're going to drag this to the other end. See where it ends? Very good. So now we are going to save this. Control Save, and we call it 2. We still save it as JPG. So that is it. That is it. So now we have these two images. When someone comes to your Instagram, they scroll and they scroll the next, they are seeing this. They scroll the first, they see this, and they scroll the next, they see this. So without wasting time, let's get into Instagram and test these stuffs and see how it works. So here we are now. Sorry, I didn't mention you are supposed to prepare a front image. The first image that is going to have the whole body of the work in a square. So let's get right into it. First, let's click to add our image. So this is the first image we have that have everything in it. So this one is not going to stress. The client is going to look at this, or people who are going to come in are going to look at this and say, wow, I like this. Then when they scroll, what they're going to see is the first one. The first one actually is this one we are going to select. Okay, so this is what they are going to select first. So when you select this, we accept to select multiple files. So you select this and then select this finally. Okay, so in most cases I do this, and I want you guys to also find it in your heart to forgive yourself for not doing it for a while. So what I do is this: I usually put my image at the end of it. So let's assume we are done now. You type whatever you want to type, new design, click OK. Now let's share and see how it goes. So I think it should be in my profile now. So when a client comes into your page, this is how it looks, very neat and clean. You don't need to start making mock-ups everywhere to make things look ugly. So very simple. If they get in, they see stuff like this. Then when they click it, they see the first image. Okay, now when they swipe, they see the second image in a bold concept. Then they swipe, you can't see the separation between this. Then they see the final part. So this is another form of zoom effect. What people can't read clearly here, they can read it like the address. They can also read like the contact details. So when you swipe to the end, you see, are you my friend? So this is just it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Once again, this is Manuel signing out from Catersgraphix. Enjoy the rest of your day.